Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to It's All Wood podcast with Charlie and Hoopy. It is a pleasure to be back with my co-host and brother Charlie to kind of bring this segment to a close. We're still talking from the subject of brothers. There's an extreme advantage of having multiple siblings growing up in the same house. It's not as common as, being a single, child growing up, just with your parents, because you got to find cousins and other friends to kind of, keep yourself occupied. But we had the pleasure of sharing our lives with one another. And so we kind of ended off with, Pooney,
right,
who's our older brother. And by the way, he's incarcerated at this time. He's been gone, 33 years?
Yeah, 30, since 1987.
Long time. Obviously he's finishing up a life sentence. And we look forward to him coming back into society to start his life. And we're going to be real supportive in helping him do that. And so as time goes on, he'll finish the programs that the system and the state has laid out for him to do. And so we're looking forward to that great day of his re-entry. Now we want to talk about Pi, who's our baby brother. He's resting in peace.
Yes.
We miss him tremendously. And the thing about it is, I asked the last question, what was it like growing up with Pooney and Pi? We kind of touched a little bit on Pi,
right.
But we really went in on Pooney. So, what was it like for you, having some of the early, because you spoke to some of the later experiences with him right before he transitioned and how we would visit his home.
Right.
But what was it like, when we were really small and you guys were the authority? You guys were leading us. I spend a lot of time with him, but what was your experience like with Pi?
It's kind of hard because you got to understand, when we was that young, and if he was 4, I was 9 or 10, Pi was, Pi was a snitch. You remember Pi used to tell on us?
Big time.
We
told everything.
Man, listen, we would give him,
even when they didn't even look, even when they wasn't even looking for information, he volunteered.
He would tell on himself.
Yeah.
Remember the time that he left the water on in the backyard, and Down was like, oh man, who was the nice enough to leave the water on all night and water the grass all night? And Pi was like, me.
Right.
And he got whooped for it.
Right.
But he was a type that wouldn't even tell on himself.
Yeah.
But so, Pi, like I said, he was so young, and he looked up to me and he looked up to you, and Pi, he told everything. Everything was chicken to him.
Yeah.
Everything was chicken.
All the meat was chicken.
It was all chicken to him.
It was all chicken.
And he
was a big boy too.
He was. Pi was, and he would eat, and but with Pi, it's hard for me to. My relationship with Pi got better, and not even better like it was worse, but he was able to shine more of his personality as he got older.
Okay.
Being a little kid, he was just a baby to us. For me. I was out doing my own thing, and Pi was at home. So I don't have a lot of interaction with Pi when I was 9, 10, 11, 12, and he was 5 and 6.
Because I was always with him. See, we had to do it. Y'all, you guys we wasn't on that same plane.
Right. Everybody did their own thing.
And I had to, I had to look after him.
Yeah. So like I said, my relationship with Pi didn't even start getting to where it was really, really close until I probably was maybe 10th, 11th grade, and then he was maybe middle school or whatever. Yeah. And then it was able to be a little bit thing. And then it even gotten better and closer as the older we got.
Yeah.
When I was in my early 20s and he was, 18, 17, whatever, So, me thinking back when he was a little kid.
Okay, do you remember this? Do you remember when we would go places, people would always give him money?
Yes.
The adults, they would always give
him, and
they
not
wouldn't
us.
give us nothing.
Right.
They would always give him money, quarters and dimes, and dollars sometimes. And Don used to always say, that's because he got this.
Oh yeah. I remember
he's
that.
He's always smiling.
I remember that.
He's
I remember that
fun personality.
I remember that. Like all his Don's brothers
Right.
and friends would always give Pie.
They would always give him money.
Yeah, I remember that.
But
I remember that.
But that is the aspect that I remember being with him when we were on 107th.
Right.
He was always the sharing type.
Yeah.
He always shared. He always, pretty much, and he was very sensitive. He always,
Extremely.
he was always, his feelings would get hurt easily, even with his friends.
Yeah.
He had a buddy, remember Houston, that lived on 105th?
Yeah.
His sister was Alicia, right?
I remember.
And so him and Houston was tight buddies, and him and Muggsy. And Muggsy was really tight. And so
was Mugs tight?
They was tight, man. When they
they were.
Because him and Spud.
Yeah.
It was Muggsy, Spud, and Pop.
It
was
was
tight. It was super
thick
tight.
as thieves.
It was super tight.
Wasn't it sure was.
And then later on, before they got to middle school, that was them. Uchi was around.
Yeah, I remember
but
Uchi.
Uchi was always quiet.
Yeah, I remember
Spud
Uchi.
and Uchi was close.
Yeah.
But and Uchi was older than them.
Yeah.
But Pie, Muggsy, and Spud was
thick as thieves.
They was tight.
Yeah.
And so Pony was recruiting everybody's friend. so Pony was hauling off these guys with him and Pookie, rest in peace. And so I remember Pie being one of those kids that was harmless.
Extremely.
He didn't want no problems.
None.
When other kids would get into these confrontations, we would always say, well, hey, fight my little brother. Or, and he never wanted that type of...
He didn't want it.
No, he didn't want that.
He didn't want it.
Even when it came to football and stuff, he didn't want to play.
He didn't want it.
He was scared to get tackled. But I say all that to say that our childhood was special because when we started going to the east side, especially in the summers, he and I grew closer because we had to be together.
Right.
We had to spend time, and then I had this small responsibility to look after him.
Right.
Don't let him wander off.
Right.
And if you remember, when I was young, I was the wanderer. Remember, y'all used to call me absent-minded.
Oh, yeah.
Or, there he is, daydreaming.
Yeah.
Because, the pack would leave me. Because I'm somewhere staring.
Yeah.
And Booney would always hit me and say, man, you're always staring at something. Keep up or whatever.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, Pie's, development had a lot to do with what he saw in us.
Yes.
And he aspired to that. And he knew that he had older brothers who was going to, protect him and be there for him.
Yeah.
So I think, and thank God we were always in a position where we didn't have to share beds or nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were always, we had our own independence.
Yeah.
And so when I think about him, I think about his childhood. So as we get older, we fast forward.
Okay.
Now Poonie is gone away. And Pie is now in high school.
Right.
I'm in college.
Right.
And now he's developing his own friends. And if you remember, Pie was always clean cut. You know what I mean? He had this nice body, this figure. And now he's really seeing a lot of things that the streets is offering. Right? So I'm thinking, okay, the dude in the blue Mustang is coming to get him.
Yeah.
They eating at all these wonderful restaurants.
You
know what I'm saying? You feeding them.
Yeah.
You buying them things here and there.
Right.
So now he's being
groomed.
Enticed.
He's being groomed.
He's being groomed and enticed because remember, the dude in the blue Mustang would have him lifting weights all the time.
Yeah.
Pie was strong as an ox.
Yeah, he was.
So now he's playing football. And he's finding out that, okay, I like football.
Yeah.
He didn't love it.
No, he didn't love it.
And I'm away, and I'm sending him, cleats and all this. I'm like, wow, he playing and, whatever. So at the end of the day, how did he transition to the streets, dude?
You know, I think at the end of the day, he was a victim of his own environment. Like, a lot of his friends were kind of out there in the streets, and you know, Pi's looking around at me, because at this time I'm in the game, I'm doing my thing, and I'm having money, and then WAP is having money, and so he's looking around and all, and then his friends in Inglewood, a lot of them dudes had started hustling or whatever. So then Pi's like, man, you know, and then and at the time, you know, him and Mac 10, you know, they had Inglewood together.
They playing football.
They playing football.
They playing football together.
Yeah. So
and McGrew, because you know McGrew ended up banging from family.
And then Mac 10 rolled over and started like, you know, I'm not, you know, he started getting his bread. Yeah. You know, he's right there doing it. So they all, and you got to understand, this is what we talked about a couple of segments ago. This is the 80s. Remember how I told you how the 80s rolled around? It was an epidemic.
He was close to Harold Miner, too, because Harold Miner, you know, they all went to Crozier.
In Inglewood.
John Staggers, you know.
Exactly.
They all go to Crozier. These are athletes, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they glorified for the streets. It's these young dudes, man.
It's the 80s, man.
You know.
It's the 80s. You got
Lil Dulo, rest in peace. I mean,
it's the 80s, man.
These dudes was turned up.
It's the 80s. And you got 11-year-old kids, 10-year-old kids curb serving, making $1,000 a night. Yeah. So I mean, come on. So that's how Pi kind of got introduced to the streets, and then you know, and then you got to understand, Pi. I'm going to say that Pi got one foot in the gang banging world and the other foot in the hustling world. Right. So he running around. You know, Green Eyes is his best friend,
and Nutty.
And Nutty Boy.
But Green Eyes is his best friend.
Is his best friend. and influencer, you know. And so Pi's like, well, hey, you know, I got these goons on my team. Yeah. And I got, you know, so he's like, well, I got the best of both worlds.
My brother's a goon.
Yeah. He's like, I got my brother's a goon. I got my other brother that's a hustler. Yeah. I got a brother in college. I got my best friend's a goon. So he's like, man, I'm with this. Yeah. So then it transitioned into that. And then Pi, you have to understand, Pi grew up kind of looking at me when he was a teenager, and he looking at me like, man, my big brother is, you know, he always clean. He got new shoes and new clothes. He got a new car. So Pi kind of looked up to me. Yeah. You know, and so he wanted.
He was fresh too.
He wanted to be like me.
Big fella was fresh.
Big boy stayed fresh.
Sergio Dikini.
Come on, man. He got the what's those gazelle glasses.
Oh, big fella was fresh. Yeah. Big fella was. He kept a fresh cut.
Oh, now he kept a fresh cut. Yeah. You know, he had his hair fried.
Oh yeah. I kept him right. Yeah.
So that's how he ended up getting involved in the streets. Yeah. And the thing with Pi, when he got involved in the streets, he never got out.
Yeah, he was committed.
He never got out.
He never got out.
When he was hustling, it was until the day he died.
Yeah.
But everybody loved and respected him. Yeah. Pi is the only guy that's the 60s knew he was from family. Right. Yeah. And he lived in the heart of the 60s. Man. Next door to some OG goons.
58th and 8th Ave.
He lived next door to some real goons.
No, he did.
But Pi took care of all the neighborhood kids, and he took care of the neighbors. Whatever they needed, he would look out for them. And that's the kind of guy Pi was.
Yeah, he was.
You know what I'm saying? He was like a Robin Hood.
Yeah, he was.
He took care of everybody. Yeah. He would give you his last.
Yeah, he would.
You know, and that's the reason why those 60s over there in the neighborhood, they didn't bother him. Because they like, you know, they knew where Pi was from, but they knew that Pi respected. And then
Pi respected them. He respected them.
Their neighborhood, and he respected them. Even when Pi's blood friends would come over to the, he like, man, y'all come in the house, y'all not gonna be out here doing whatever.
And don't be coming over here flaming.
Don't be coming over here flaming a lot.
He didn't let a lot of them come over.
No, it was only a handful.
Yeah.
It was Green Eyes was over a few times. Capone.
Not too.
That was really that was kind of really it. Maybe country, maybe not though.
Lil Border.
Yeah, Solomon, but he didn't have too many people coming over there anyway. He would come over to the neighborhood, you know. Yeah. He would go over there and get the hell out of there.
Because remember, you know, when I had my 6'4", right? Mm-hmm. And it was already burgundy. Right. You know what I'm saying? I used to wear my USC hat all the time. You know, I used to wear my SC stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
You know, and so I'm over there not realizing
where you are.
I'm in the heart of the O's.
Woo!
And not understanding that it's a code. And these guys, rightfully so, had every right to come at me.
Yes.
Because I'm on their turf.
Yes.
And then one day I left. Cause they used to want to buy my
6-4.
And that family that was next door, they was good guys.
They was real good
so
guys.
They and they respected us because they knew, okay, those are his brothers.
Right.
The other dude, whatever. They knew.
Right.
They calculated.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So now I'm like looking at these guys like, okay, these guys is really active.
Yeah.
And then one day, Pi told me, he said, hey, man, do not ever come back over here.
With that USC hat?
With no USC hat, no red, no burgundy. Don't come over. He said, matter of fact, man, don't even drive your car over here if you don't have to.
Right.
Like, they liked the car because they wanted to buy it.
Right.
But he was like, don't come over here like that no more. Because they told him, hey, man, you got to tell your homies, man, don't come over here disrespecting the O's.
Wow.
And they told him the only reason why we ain't done nothing is because we respect your father too.
Oh, yeah.
It's like we respect your dad.
Yeah.
So with that being said, that was something that I realized that he was in a whole different element in his life.
Yeah.
Obviously he had gained weight, and he was living really outside of how we
really lived,
raised,
how we were raised.
What I'm saying?
Yeah.
And maybe it was the lifestyle
Yeah.
that he had become accustomed to, because it was grimy.
He had a temper too. Of course. He put a gun on me one day. I didn't tell you.
I remember. But you was antagonizing.
No, I
man.
wasn't.
Well, you was telling them to do something constructive, and he was like, "Who? Like?"
Well, basically, Pi, he don't want you trying to
run his business.
Well, not only that, if he feel as though he has to kind of like exploit himself or open himself up to be viewed, he rebels.
Yeah, he don't like that.
He rebels.
Yeah.
And it was something that it was happening. And I told him, I said, man, you can't. Well, he went bananas. Put a gun, nigga. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing?
He drew down on you?
He put a gun on me and told me, man.
Get out my house.
Yeah.
Did he?
And called me an hour later crying. He was a big softy.
Oh, he was a softy.
Oh, man, I'm sorry, man. I love you. I didn't mean you. But he got a temper. Yeah. Once he fire off the handle.
Well, you know what happened with me when I came home from college, and
he didn't never go off on you though, did he?
No, no, not like that.
I think he was scared of you.
No, he never went out.
I think he respected you more because he was, you were always more serious, and I kind of laughed and joked with him or whatever, and you was always more kind of serious, and then he kind of looked at. He was not scared of you like scared of you, but he respected you more. I think. I think. Remember that time when he was working at Pizza Hut? And I had came home. Come on, man, don't tell that story.
Bro, I came home.
Come on, man, not this story.
Man, I had been playing all day. I don't know what gym. Anyway, I was hungry and tired. Yeah, so I come home, man, and Mom hadn't cooked.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
She wasn't there. I think she was at work or something.
No,
I don't think she was there.
She probably wasn't there.
I don't think she was
on one of those union
trips.
Because
I wasn't living with you.
No, you wasn't living.
Yeah, she was on one of her one of them union trips.
And Pooney was living there though.
Yeah, but he was there.
But he wasn't there.
Right.
So anyway, I come home, man. I'm like, man, ain't nothing to eat. So he comes in from Pizza Hut.
Oh, I remember he worked at Pizza Hut.
He still got his little hat on.
Yeah.
And he got 2 pizzas.
Wow.
And so I'm like, man, you gonna eat both of the pizzas? Why did I say that, dude? He went bananas.
Yeah,
he was like, what blood? This is my pizza. If I want to throw him out, I'll throw him out. Matter of fact, he got up, dude. He went out the back door and tossed them.
Wow.
Dude, I was so blue, dude. I went, and you can see him flipped over in the grass, dude. I went down there anyway, like, I hope they all ain't touching
right.
the grass.
I'm going to eat at least one of them.
Hey, dude, I was starving, dude.
But that's...
And he was hot, dude.
See what it was?
Man, don't, blah, 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 man. You talking about my weight, blah, blah, blah.
See, and that's what, he ain't, Pi not knowing that he was real sensitive about his weight, and he thought that everybody was talking about it. But he didn't like. He was sensitive about his weight, and he would flip about that. Remember, he used to put holes in walls. Yeah. Beating up walls.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, he had a problem with weight. You remember the time? See, I'm telling you, man, he didn't. Dude, used to make him mad, man. You know what I'm telling
me? You.
Man, you did. No,
you the reason why he wasn't in the wedding.
No, but I can. No, it wasn't.
It was. You was like, hey, man, they ain't got no tuxedo.
Nigga, I never said that, dude. I never said that.
Yes, you did.
Man, I never said that.
They ain't got no tuxedo.
Man, I never said that, dude. You know I never said, because I was the only one that can tease him about his weight. He didn't really take it. You know, dude. Look, I can remember a time where he was at home and he was bent over on the bed, and you know he had his crack showing like he was a plumber.
Right.
So I stuck a quarter in his crack, and he just started, ain't nothing but a hound dog. He started singing like he was a jukebox. But that's how he was with me, because he know I used to play with him about his weight. But he took that weight thing real serious, man. He had a real problem with that.
Because when he would come in the barbershop, he would defer. He would always start bagging like on himself. Like he would say stuff like, man, let me hurry up. You got some oil. You might want to put some oil in the chair so I can get out.
Oh, but guess what?
You know he would, he would always, he was funny, man.
Yeah, but look, I remember a time we was watching. It was a fight. I think it was a Tyson fight, and everybody that mile was you, Lil Rodney.
Yeah.
Rodney brought his girl, and somebody else. And then Pi, he was so sensitive about his weight. When he would come around people, if he didn't know you, he wouldn't want to be around. So I think at the time I had gotten my carpet clean. And then so he came to the door, and then you was like, hey man, you gotta take your shoes off. He was hot. He's like, what? He left.
Out of here, yeah.
He's like, I'm out of here. So he left. All you hear is the car, whoop whoop, and his 5 minutes later, mom calling. Hello, what did you do to this boy? Talking to you. What did you do to this boy? You talking to your mom? But that's how Pi was. I mean, mom was protective over all of us. Yeah. But Pi was just sensitive about his weight, man, and he didn't realize that he was real sensitive about his weight.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and people love to see him come to the barbershop and stuff because he was a giver.
Oh man.
If he was eating, you was eating. And he would never let me give him free haircuts in the barbershop.
Right.
Period, really.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes, I just wouldn't even take his money.
Right.
So he would ball the money up somewhere and throw it in my counter or something like that. But that was just how he was.
Yeah.
And
he used to come up there with the goons.
Oh yeah.
He used to come up there with the goons.
All of them.
What was it?
Them was his homies.
What was the main dude?
But all of them was good dudes, man. Yeah. I mean, it was what it was, And then we saw these dudes when they were like kids.
Yeah.
Big Meat, rest in peace.
Oh man, he loved Big Meat.
His little brother, Lil Wiener,
man.
Rest in peace. So you look at these guys, man. You've seen these guys literally when they were kids.
Man, Baby Falosh used to come up there with him.
Yeah. Little Hey Baby,
Hey Baby.
These was the guys,
Green Eyes. They used to make me. Man, who are we? We in there shooting dice. Here come Green Eyes. I mean, who's that? Oh man, that's only Green Eyes.
Yeah, it's like those are the good times. So the last thing I want to say is, are there any other memorable, or would you say if you could just pick one? Is there one memorable moment about Pi that stands out above everything else?
Yeah, let me tell you something. There's a lot of them, but I can remember when this is how much of a good guy he was. But I can remember where people would come to his house and they would be in need of whatever, and I've watched Pi give people like his last.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've watched Pi go in his pocket and make sure that these people are taken care of. This is the most. Now this one is the most memorable that I can. That it hit me, and it hit me hard, and it really affected me. I remember when Curtis, Uncle Curtis, resting in peace. I remember he got sick, and I remember when we found out what his illness was, and I remember telling Pi, and Pi just broke down.
Oh, yeah.
Like
right
immediately.
Away. Yeah.
Because Pi was that type of guy. He was a real loving spirit, and he cared about anybody that was in his circle. He really loved me. Me and you're like that. Like there's no in between with us.
Right.
If you with us, we love you.
Yeah.
There's no in the middle. Like guys that's in your circle, you love them.
Yeah, I'm committed.
There's no in the middle. Like, oh, this dude's all right. Yeah. So when Pi found out that Curtis was sick, he just broke down crying because immediately in his Pi's mind is Curtis is gonna no longer be with us. And that's how Pi was. Right. Because Uncle Curtis used to be over there at his house a lot, getting on Pi's nerves. Right. But at the end of the day, that was his uncle, and he loved Uncle Curtis to death. But so that was a few memorable moments about Pi that really, just really stood out. The kind of human being that he was. Yeah. And the kind of emotional creature that he was.
Yeah, and that was my most, memorable moment is so many. Right. But if I could just, in a nutshell, he was always a confidant for me. Okay. I could talk to him
about anything.
Everything. Yeah. And the wisdom he would share. Yeah. Even if it was, because, he wasn't an academic prowess. Right. It wasn't like, he came with all this philosophy. Right. But he would always give you a wisdom that would cause you to walk away scratching your head like, how did this dude come up with that? Yeah. But that's the part that I miss the most. So, and that's my last question. What do you miss the most about him? But he was that person that I could rely on whenever I was going through an emotional crisis or some kind of decision that I needed to make. And not see, if I went to you just give me a solution but it would be like, well, mine would always be critical. Oh, but yours would be more like tough love. Like, dude, this is what you do, and that's that. Oh, you need to figure it out. Whereas Pi would always be the one.
He'll coddle you,
or he would rationalize where I am, but he would tell me the truth though. He wouldn't lie. He wouldn't like make it seem like it ain't what it is. Even if he said, well, you wrong. Yeah. But the way he would process it, it was soothing for me.
Let me tell you something. A quick story about Mom, and I'm gonna tell you about Pi. What I miss about him the most. But you had said something about Mom, about her, coming to her with a problem or whatever, and her response. Oh man, I remember I was living back east one time, and I was going through it, and I called Mom and was talking to her and was kind of telling her about it or whatever. You know what she told me?
What?
Go ahead and kill yourself. What? Go ahead and kill yourself.
Is that what she said?
Dude, she didn't mean it like
that.
But in her, Mom, I'm telling you, she's a tough lady. For her, she don't want to see you coming to her with all that emotional crying, whining stuff. Right. She's like, dude, get your balls out of your purse and move on. I'm telling you, when she said that, I was like, damn, I guess I ain't gonna be calling her no more. Right. Looking for, I'm looking for a little motherly, emotional support.
You was looking for some nurture.
Man,
you was looking
like,
for some
son,
nurture.
it's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be better. She's not that lady.
That ain't her.
That doesn't mean that she's a bad lady. Right. But she's not that lady. Right. And she didn't raise us that way. Right. She was like, go ahead and kill yourself. I was like, damn, Mom. But anyway, what I miss most about Pi, man, is me being able to go to his house and just sit around and just get a laugh. Yeah. You can get some gut busting laugh. This dude was a stand-up comedian and didn't realize it.
Yeah, it was funny.
We all got that in us.
It was funny.
And it's not from our father's side. It is. It is.
Because Mother is hilarious.
No, is she?
Oh my God.
Okay, so we get it.
Mother is hilarious, and so is Uncle Roger.
Are you serious?
Hey, dude.
They not funnier than Big Daddy though. Hey, this dude was a prodigy.
Same level.
Are you serious?
Hey.
Nah, dude. Big Daddy used to have me stomach about to bust.
You gotta be around him, dude.
But even Big Daddy's the things that he would do and the sound effects and remember he was like, oh God, take his hand, start scratching his head.
It's different humor.
Oh, dude, this dude was funny. Yeah. So I think we got we inherited that funny gene from both sides.
Yeah.
But I would go to
you
Pi's
know,
house, dude, and Pi got the funny gene from mom on that side.
Yeah.
But man, I would go to his house and he would have to tell me like, Matt, go home, dude. I'm over here in a trap.
You in a trap.
And you over here, Matt. Go home, dude. Home. We over here trapping, and you over we over here trapping, and you over here trying to get laughs. But man, that's what I miss about him, just being able to go to him and you would be attest to this. Every single girlfriend you may have had, they loved Pi.
Of course, everybody.
They loved him.
Everybody did.
Everybody who I introduced this dude, they loved him because that's the kind of dude he was.
Miss Farrington loved him.
He was like a big teddy bear, and he was super respectful.
Yeah, yeah.
Very respectful.
Miss Farrington loved him.
So that's what I miss about him.
Yeah.
Word of advice: don't go to mom's for no comfort because you ain't gonna get it.
No. Well, yeah, you're right.
Don't go to mom's for no comfort because you gonna get your feelings hurt.
Right.
She'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
Man, if you don't get your butt out of here.
Yeah, and as we wrap it up, I echo what you said about him. He was just that guy that was the life of the party. He lit the room up. Even when we would see him in a not so good, like let's just say he took a loss or something, or he still knew how to find humor in it.
Yeah, and everything.
And he would always tell me this. He would always tell me this, man. When I would take losses in the street, and I was like, man, this happened. You know what he would always say?
What?
Hey, bro, it could be worse than that.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's he talking about? I ain't trying to hear that.
Right.
But what he was saying was, dude, it could have been worse.
Yeah.
It could have been you that was lost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could have lost the chips and your life.
Yeah.
Or you could have lost the chips and your car.
Yeah.
Whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I really miss not having him here,
man,
to see the kids,
man,
grow up.
Oh, the kids loved him. All kids loved him.
I told my boys.
All kids loved him.
Even my daughter, I said, you would have loved Pie.
Oh,
I said,
especially Jeremy.
Oh, he would.
And your daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then Micah being kind of big and thick. They would have, and then they wouldn't have wanted for nothing.
I miss that dude, man. I miss
that
dude. That dude right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss that dude a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the great point about them both, Poonie included, I missed what things would have been like as a young adult,
right,
for him. Would he have ever made that transition into life as we know it? You know what I'm saying? Because when Lil Bird was born, because Poonie went in when Bird was 3.
Was he 3 or 2?
He was 3. He was 3. And so with that being said, Poonie was already saying, I'm out.
Right.
This was, this is what he had already committed to, and this what the talk was even in the neighborhood. Hey man, I want to raise my son.
Right.
I want to be there for my son or whatever. And then Lil Antoine got killed.
Yeah.
And so he made a bad decision to do whatever he felt he had to do in the streets or whatever. But I always say I miss him because he was funny too. Yeah. He had a humor side, and the events that he would always be in, he was comical about it. But I remember all of the teachings that he would give us in the streets, his experiences that he had in juvenile hall, YA, listening to those stories, he was really telling us, you don't want to go this way.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember, and you remember it too, I remember the night leading up for that 2 weeks in '87 when he ended up catching that case.
Oh, yeah.
You ended up from Manchester and Crenshaw all the way to 106.
Same night Antoine
Prairie,
got killed.
same night, you jogged to my house.
Jogged to your house.
And you was like, man, the blood dude, he in there tripping, and this, that, and the other. You was telling me everything that happened. I'm like, man, what's going on? Hey, man, the dude is on one. He's doing it. And I told you that
we
night.
got into a scuffle that night.
Yeah, and I told you that night. I said, you know what, man? I'm going home. I'm going to your mom's house in the morning. I'm getting my safe.
Yeah.
Mom's called me.
And you an
hour later. He running outside with your safe. I'm like,
yeah.
It was
but you said it. You
yep.
said it. And it's, man, I hope this dude didn't take my safe.
Well, I knew it. And from that day on, it was so funny because I was so mad. I went look for him. I think that night or the next. I think I went. I don't know if I went that night because you was still at my place. Matter of fact, I think you ended up going back home
the next morning.
I think I went and looked for him, but I went and bought a riot pump shotgun. I'm serious. I'm serious, dude. He took a lot, and oh, dude, he took a lot. He took a lot. Some cash. Oh, dude, he took a lot, dude. Like right. 2 of them things and about 30 G's.
Right.
So
right.
I went looking for him, and I'm glad I didn't find him because I probably would have shot him. I probably wouldn't have killed him, but I would have wounded him. But anyway, I would have wounded him. But anyway, from that one event that night, for that 2 weeks, is when he caught that case. Yeah. So I didn't have to shoot him. Right. He ended up catching that case, and he went in '87 and never got out again. No. You know, but it's a trip.
But didn't he go to jail and then they let him out?
They never let him
funeral?
out. They never let him out. When he caught that,
no, that was after the fact.
Yeah.
He got arrested and they let him out, and then he ended up doing. Okay.
Yeah. But man, I was mad for a long time, and I didn't really forgive him, man, for a long time. A long time, and then years went by, and I finally was like, man, it's whatever. It's water under the bridge, Right. But yeah, man, that was yeah.
But the relationship over the years that he's been incarcerated, you've been to visit him.
Oh, of course.
He's called you.
Of course.
For your cell phone.
Yeah. I mean, we all. The thing about it is, when he was out there banging and doing whatever, he forgot to get a girlfriend. I think Vicky was the only girlfriend he really ever had, and from that point on, once he got incarcerated, you, me, and Mom was all he had.
That was all he had.
To this very day, we're the ones that he write letters to when he needs something. Right. We're the ones that he like, oh man, I need this, I need that. So I mean, he has to look at how he treated his family earlier on before he was, before he got incarcerated into his position that he's in now. Yeah. And it's like, dude, the same people that you took advantage of is the same people that's looking out for you.
Yeah, but he
realized that.
He made that adjustment a long time ago. Yeah. And he apologized dozens of times. But the great thing is, we have those experiences to share. Mm-hmm. And so, thanks a lot for, really bringing that out. And to the viewers, and those that will view this podcast, right? We're not glorifying the streets. We're not glorifying any of the negative experiences that we had. But the young people, we definitely don't ever want you to misinterpret
what we're saying.
Exactly, and disobey your parents or feel as though your parents are, old fogey and they're not, understanding where you are in society, because those experiences that you'll have with your siblings, whether it's all girls or all boys, are monumental in your development as well as what is going to be when you face the real world. Because even in your work environment, you're gonna work with other genders. You're going to work with other personalities. And you're going to have to learn how to adjust there. So we want to say thank you again for tuning in to this episode and allowing us to be a voice to create dialogue. Because, like I said, we're on major social media platforms. We're going to send the link. And we want you to like, subscribe, and share this content with others. Before we end the show, we want to say thank you again to the Coalesce Group for being our sponsor and being a resource for us, as well as the academic and athletic community that you serve. Again, they're emphasizing exposure, education, enrichment, encouragement, and also empowerment. And so we want you to know that they are out there helping parents, they're helping young people, and they're helping educators. And so again, thank you so much. We're going to give it over to our co-host, Charlie.
One last thing we talked about real quick. For the adults out there that's our age, a couple of years younger, no one has been perfect. We've all had our shortcomings, and we've all whatever. So whatever you may have done in your past, in your young youth or whatever, don't be ashamed of it. Embrace it. Learn from it. And I'm guarantee it's made you a better man or woman to this point now. Peace and love. I'll see you guys next time.